Today we have another young Indian with us as part of the Voice of the Young segment. Hello, everybody. Good to be with you once again. We have with us Malabika Koley. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Malabika.
Thank you, Dr. Mathur. Hello, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Mathur, for this initiative and for giving me the opportunity to share my ideas. So today I'm going to talk about my experience as coming as an Indian applying to US University, and also especially as someone who came from a statistical background. So I did my bachelor's and master's in statistics, and then I shifted to economics department. So how was this transition, and like what I did that helped me in that, and looking back what I think I could have like done in a different way.
Okay.
So I chose this topic because like ever since I went there, a lot of my peers and juniors like oftentimes message me asking me suggestions about like this. So I thought this would be a great way to just make a short video about it. Okay. So firstly, okay, so I'll be going like back and forth between, just like generally speaking about US PhD applications coming from India, and with like focus on those who want to go from stats to econ. So firstly, my suggestion will be that if you are in your master's program, because I think most of the Indians like they finish their masters in India or like somewhere abroad and then like apply for PhD, right? So make up your mind beforehand if you want to do a PhD or not. So do not make like a last minute decision or like, okay, I will go to the job market and for some industry positions I will see, and then if I want to. I think it is always like good to make up your mind at least by the end of the first year or like 2 semesters of your masters. Why do I say that? Because I think you should have ample amount of time, not just for like preparing for your standard test like GRE, TOEFL, but also just to prepare your application as a whole. So that is like one key thing that I think is important to realize. Secondly, is that before you like try to apply to some university, first like sit down with maybe consult your professors or your seniors, peers, and make a list of schools where you want to apply to.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, so I think making that list is very important. In that list you should have a few ambitious schools where there are maybe about like 30 to 40% chances of getting accepted. Then you should have some like medium kind of schools where you have like higher chances, and then a couple which are like sure short ones, right?
Okay. Right.
Mostly the medium ones more. So one thing is that first make the list, but then you may ask, how do I decide which schools to apply to? Like sitting in India, right? Because we often do not have all the idea about what's going on there.
Yeah.
To do that, one thing that I did was I talked to my professors. I talked to them. I let them know that I'm interested in applying for PhD in the US, and that helped me to that helped me in making that list basically. So oftentimes our professors they know someone in those like US universities or departments, and it is always good to have their perspective on that.
Right.
Like they oftentimes like have maybe an idea, if not like a better idea of your chances of getting accepted than you as a student, because students, we are often like not that mature about what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So always like talk to professors, if not like everyone, maybe like pick 2 or 3 professors who you like really interacted well in your master's program, like who know you personally, and like be in touch with them. Secondly, always talk to your seniors like who went from the same master's program onto some in US university for PhD, because or they have gone through the process, they have gone through the entire application, and chances are higher that the schools where they are currently in will accept you as well because of your similar kind of background, right?
Yeah.
So in the medium or the short schools, have those schools on your list.
All right.
So that's another thing. Also, like just like talk to your peers, like your cohort mates who are also applying in the same year. Just like to know who is applying where and like how the competition might change in the depending
Yeah.
on that pool. Um, that is about making the list. Now coming to the application part, uh, what we need is GRE and TOEFL, right? But nowadays, in the recent years, I think a lot of the schools are just like doing away with the GRE scores because they don't think it is relevant anymore. But also, there are some schools which still look at the GRE scores. Okay, so when you're preparing for GRE and TOEFL, just prepare, like give your best and prepare. Okay, like don't think about okay, I will probably not need this score or that score. Just do your best and prepare for it.
Yeah.
One reason why I say that is like it involves time. Like you have a certain application, like window where you have to apply. It's not like all year round. So you
No.
have to take the test and get the scores within a particular month. Like you should
Right.
have that
Right.
plan
Right.
chalked out already.
Right.
Yeah. And also these are like expensive, right? Like if
Yeah.
you convert like in INR, these tests are like pretty expensive. So you do
Yes.
not want to like do, like lots of trials. So prepare well. That is one thing. Second thing about GRE, like speaking of GRE and TOEFL, is that uh, like do prepare because like coming from STEM backgrounds, a lot of us because we have studied like in the quantitative area, we think that okay, like I'll be able to manage this, but sometimes maybe we are not in touch with those kinds of problems because like these questions in the quants part especially, they come from like standard 10, 9 or 10 kinds of questions, and we are often like not in touch with that kind.
Right.
So
Right.
practice, practice, practice.
Right.
That
Right.
is the key thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was about GRE and TOEFL. In
Right.
TOEFL, especially, I think the speaking score is the most important. And about that, I think just one suggestion which really like worked wonders for me was that speak loudly and clearly. Even if your English is not 100% correct, if you have, used some incorrect words, all that is fine, but be sure that you are loud and clear. That
Okay.
is really important.
Yeah.
So that was all about GRE and TOEFL.
Okay.
Next thing about applications is that just think like if you are the person to evaluate your application package or evaluate someone else's application package, what will you look into, right?
Yeah.
For me personally, I took a year leap between my masters. So I finished my masters in 2016 and I went to US in 2017. So that year 2016 to 17, I used to work as a project associate or like a research assistant in a project. So I already had let my professors know that I was interested, and a lot of them advised me to try to do some kind of project rather than go for some industry position in that one gap year.
Yeah.
And that gave me some kind of research experience, which I think helped me in my application as well.
Okay.
So if you can just like show some kind of research experience, it does not have to be like a full-fledged paper or like a published, like do not think if you have that, that's like
Yeah.
absolutely like amazing. But if you do not have that, please do not feel demotivated. Just show whatever research experience you have. Okay.
Okay.
And and the third thing about writing your SOP is that please like to not like avoid writing, like very generic things like I saw this particular person and that's how I got inspired and that. No, you should have like a specific personal reason for you to choose that particular area of research or something like that. Like it should be like a personal motivation, not like,
Okay.
very generic things.
Yeah.
That's about because I have like also like after going there, like when we talk to professors and during the application process, they say, okay, we came across like this particular SOP and that, and we can like make out, okay, like these
Yeah.
are just like made up stories and all of
Right.
that. So be precise, be
Yeah.
precise. So
So
that was about yes,
yeah.
yes.
Continue, please.
Yeah, so that was about SOP.
Yeah.
And now I'll talk a bit about transitioning from like statistics to economics. Um, so I did when I applied. I applied to a few of the statistics departments and a couple economics departments. Um, so what helped me to get into an economics department was my research experience, which was in a project in economics. Okay,
Yeah.
I was working with two statisticians and an economist, so that gave me that economics exposure,
Yeah.
and I could use that in my application
All right.
basically. Yeah, but when I was like choosing, my school or like the department where I wanted to apply to, I kind of had an idea that I would be willing to do econometrics if I go to an econ department. And especially I think like people from stats background do like just like want to do econometrics. That is probably
Yeah.
the most common reason for
Yeah.
going to an econ department. Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure that you have at least like two faculties that you could potentially work with before you apply to that department,
Yeah.
because you do not want to end up in a department where you do not find anyone to work with eventually,
Okay.
till you finish your 2 years of 3 years of coursework. That will be a really disappointing thing. So at least have like two faculty names, and if possible, interact with them beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, this is my application and I'm interested in your work. Like, be genuinely interested,
Mm-hmm.
not just like mention some of their papers.
Yeah.
And oftentimes they are able to say what are like what's your stand, or like what are your chances, and
Yeah.
just like take the hint from there. Okay, like
All right.
before applying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one thing that I did. And other than that, about like transitioning from statistics to like economics, um, I did talk to my to some of my econometrics faculties beforehand, and that gave me an idea about the kind of work that they do.
Yeah.
Um, for example, someone who is my junior from my master's program recently like contacted me about like he was also
Yeah.
planning to apply to like econ departments. The
Yeah.
reason being that he worked in industry for a few years and he got interested in like more applied areas, and he chose like econ as his area of like
Right.
application.
Right.
So that's the same advice basically that I gave to him, that be sure that you have someone to work with before you go
Yeah.
to that department, right?
All right.
And choose your letters of recommendations wisely. So you should have someone who will be, at least not saying like negative things about you, and that is
Yeah.
especially important because
Mhm.
you also like not like indifferent,
Yeah.
someone who will be indifferent about you. I think
Yeah.
sometimes we ask, people who are like very established, maybe we at some point had some like contact with them and we requested them to write a letter for us, and they do not know us that personally to write like substantial things about us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that if that can be avoided, I think it's good.
Yeah.
um, so that was all about the applications. Then once you get into an econ department, again, like I'm coming back to like statistics to economics.
Yeah.
Once you get into an econ department, first thing is go with a positive mindset. Like, please don't be afraid
Yeah.
that econ is an unknown area for me.
Yeah.
And I know, because like in coursework, like you have to take like core econ topics as well, like
Right.
courses
Right.
as
Right.
well, right? Like even if you are interested in econometrics. So speaking
Yeah.
from my experience, I was a little, like unsure about like how I would adapt to the econ environment.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, out of goodwill, obviously, when before I went there, like kind of, like kind of warned me, all in positive ways. That it like that please like work really hard and like get through the first 2 3 years, and if you are able to survive that period, like you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I got a little scared, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
uh, that was just my personal thing. So like looking back, I think I could have done that differently.
Yeah.
Just like go with the positive mindset, because in the coursework they will teach you everything. Like they do
Yeah.
not like kind of they do not expect you to have much knowledge beforehand.
Right.
And I had like minor in econ during my bachelor's in India. So I was a little familiar with economics, but I learned most economics when I did the courses over there.
Yes.
And it was like absolutely fine. Like I did
Yeah.
not feel that,
Yeah.
okay, I
Okay.
am, being disadvantaged because of not having an econ background. So go with a positive mindset. No, trust the committee. Know that if they have taken you, they have gone through your application, and they believe that you will be able to, like survive and like do well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
go with that positive mindset. I think
Yeah.
it's really important.
Uh,
Once you go there, interact with your peers.
Yeah.
That is another thing which is really important and like really helped me. Try to be friends with people from like different cultures. If you already have, like some Indians in your cohort, I think it will give you that initial, like it will be like an ice breaking thing. But also like interact with all other like cultures, and like make friends with like people outside of your department as well.
Okay.
um, and also within your department as well.
Okay.
Try to form a study group,
Yeah.
because especially like in courses like courseworks and all that, having a study group not just like helps you in studies, but it
Okay.
also gives you that emotional support, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you are your family,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
having like good friends like really helps. It
Yeah.
helps a lot.
Yeah.
um, Also have friends outside of your department, like I
Of
mentioned,
course.
because what happens is oftentimes when we like hang out with friends from our department, most of us go through the similar things, right? So we like somehow like tend to talk about the same topics
Right.
sometimes,
Right.
which may be a little stress inducing, because like you're already a little concerned about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, which is good in a way that you can like vent out in front of each other. But also when you have friends from other departments, it will, the conversation will be like a will have like a different,
Yeah.
like
True.
dimension and all of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it is very important to create a family in on campus. So that's done, and after that, just I think just like talk to your professors, like just try to have
Okay.
establish a relationship.
Okay.
And speaking of my personal experience, again from an econ department, I think what um, what is a very useful thing to realize beforehand, like before you advance in your like third or fourth year, is that try to find your potential advisor. I know
Yeah.
in most of the econ departments we have like a third year paper thing which we have to like pass, and then we after that we have to submit the name of our dissertation advisor, right? The
Yeah.
chair, the
Yeah.
committee eventually. So try to have an idea of who you would probably approach to be your dissertation chair,
Yeah.
and like to her or his like existing students about the work culture with the professor and all of that. That really like helps you. If you can, like always have a senior faculty member on your committee.
Yeah.
uh, that is if that is possible. That is always very helpful, because like sometimes they have like more experience of like
Yeah.
dealing with department related things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
With, like logistical things and all of that. So I think it really like helps, if not your chair, but like at least someone who you could like regularly be in touch with.
Okay.
uh, and always try to, because like in econ we do not have a lab, right, as such.
No.
So what I noticed like was the difference, like the primary difference between my experience and my friends experience who were in other departments and they had a lab, is that we oftentimes like lose touch with our peers or our committee, right?
Yeah.
Because after we finish our coursework, because we are not meeting them regularly. So
Yeah.
what I think really helped me is to be a TA, like a
Yeah.
teaching assistant for my advisor.
Yeah.
So I could like I had like so many ways of like meeting with him and like interacting with him and like being in touch with him.
All right.
Uh, yeah, so that was like because oftentimes like if we are just like interacting with our advisor in terms of our dissertation work, if we do not get a good result for like weeks, we are like, oh, I don't know what to report to my advisor, and then
Yeah.
like that's just like, I think it's not a good thing
Okay.
to be out of touch with your advisor.
Okay.
So be in touch, like a regular touch with your advisor, like just report to her or him the little progresses that you have made, even if that does not give you like a result that you could include on your thesis or
Okay.
something.
All right.
Just
Wonderful. Yeah.
so just like keep her or him in the loop.
Okay.
Make sure that your advisor like never thinks that, oh, I'm not aware of like what work you are doing currently.
Yeah.
It's like that. That is one situation that you do not want to face.
Yeah.
Uh, so that is there, and other than that, I would just like, my general thing would be to say, yeah, go with a positive attitude, just make friends, also like enjoy the life, enjoy that student, like the grad life. Now
Yeah.
we hear like so many, like shortcomings or like negative things about grad life, but also maybe this is the last time you are a student, so
Yeah.
enjoy that.
Yeah.
Enjoy
It's for sure the last time you're a student,
you
right?
are a student, because like
Right.
even as a postdoc you are no longer a student,
No,
right?
you're not. You are
Yeah.
not a student, right?
So
So
yeah, I personally like really kind of like enjoy like being a student, in the sense that I like the kind of like campus environment and
yeah.
things. Yeah, make sure you take full advantage of that. Also, like be friends with your peers, because that also like like opens up avenues for like future collaborations and all of that. Uh, so just have an open mindset, and everything will be fine.
Okay.
Trust in, have faith in yourself, and all
Yeah.
will be
All right. Wonderful.
fine.
Okay. That's a very good, what should I say, explanation of how it's possible to be successful, not only in getting in, but then after getting in, of actually getting it done. I mean, PhD is known to be a hellish degree. So, there's going to be a hellish part to it no matter what. And you have to have the positive attitude to get through it. Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your college days?
So my
It's all
college days.
sounding like you're like a guidance counselor, but we don't get to hear of you.
Yeah. I did my college in Kolkata.
Yeah,
I did my bachelor's from Ashutosh College in
yeah.
with honors in statistics, and I would say my college days were like full of fun, and but also like with a lot of experiences, because I feel like I grew up like academically and personally to a great extent during my college. That transition from school to college was, like an important one. And I was fortunate to have like really good faculties, and we have this culture of like taking tuition classes, right, like in India. So I studied from like a very good professor, like who taught me outside of like college and all of that. And I had like really good friends in college as well. Like
Yeah. Okay.
a couple of them I am like still in touch with. So yeah, that really was an amazing experience. Like looking back, it's all like fond memories.
Yeah.
Not just my college days, but also my university days. Like
Yeah.
I enjoyed the studies as well. Like I enjoyed statistics. Speaking about statistics, like I think most of us would agree probably that when you start, and if you are like not familiar with statistics, you may think that, oh, like I don't know, it's all about like numbers and like like unlike economics where you have like a nice like background and a motivation. But like once you get into that thing, I think most of us like do enjoy the subject, right?
Okay.
So that is like really important to enjoy what you are studying
Yeah.
in college as well as in masters. So I was like really fortunate to have like good professors and good friends in college and in masters. In masters program I did from like University of Calcutta, MS in statistics.
Yeah.
uh, a lot of our professors like left or like retired soon after we graduated. So I like really feel lucky to have
Okay.
like
Yeah.
been taught by them.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, it was amazing. Like
All
looking
right.
back, I have like all cherishable
Okay.
memories.
All right. Wonderful. I mean, so you have been very hardworking and motivated, and it has worked. The
Thank
results
you.
are there, right? The results are there of your
I,
hard work and motivation, and plus, of course, natural abilities, and I suppose parental support. So,
Definitely. That is another thing I
uh,
must mention, is that
yeah,
be in touch with your family, like
yeah,
call them and like let them know what is going on in their life,
yeah,
because it definitely like there are most of us like face some hardships, like during the journey of our PhD. at like certain points. And uh, it was like I too faced a couple of such hardships, but it was all because of my amazing family who supported me from here, like sitting in India. They like, like talked me out of that situation and all of that. So it was like really, really, I don't know if I would have come this far without
Okay.
their support. So
All right.
it's really
Well,
important to have their support.
okay. Great. All right. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's all that I
Okay.
wanted to add.
That's all you. Okay. Maybe we'll catch up with you 1 year from now and
Oh
see
yes, I will.
whether
Yeah.
PhD is still fun or it has become hellish. We'll check with you. We'll check. Maybe we'll check back.
I hope I can like give you good experiences
Who
after a
knows?
year.
Things happen. So anyway, it's been great to listen to you, and
Thank
you
you,
told the
Mathur.
younger generation whatever it is that you have accumulated and learned and all. And I think that's very good. We have this data bank, so to speak, which is in your mind, and it should be in public domain, dumped, and should be in the public domain. So I'm happy that you did that, and you didn't focus much on yourself, but that's your choice. Okay. Some people like to talk about themselves, but you did, and that's fine by me. So let's end it here, and we'll see if you are interested in 1 year. Maybe you'll call me and say, "Hey, Prof, I got something to say." And say,
Sure.
no, I
Yes.
don't want another lecture for young people. That next time it has to be about you, okay? Not a discourse on how to do well in PhD, but rather what I've been doing. What's my topic? What am I thinking? What am I learning? What am I going through? And we'll see you then, perhaps, if you are interested. I can't say anything now. All right, so shall we say bye?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, fine. So let me hit the